Hi guys, welcome to the flight today, as we are with Lauda Air in the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 with the Pmdg 737-700. Thought we'd fly Lauda Air today, fly one of their hub-to-hubs, which was Innsbruck to Graz, which we're going to take the Lauda Air out, which looks absolutely fantastic livery, the Australian way to holidays. So we're going to be departing out of runway 08. We're going to be riding out on the Rattenberg SID departure for the 2 Quebec and coming in for runway 16 centre down in Graz for the Iberi 1 Mike. So should be a nice flight today, 290 on the flight, and the cost index is 23. So don't forget to like and subscribe guys. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to join the community and welcome on board this 737 adventure. So that all said and done, then we get inside the cockpit and start the aircraft up, ready to fly. So we're in the 737-700 cockpit now, so we go overhead, we get the battery on and guarded, standby power is guarded, and ground power is on. Get one pump on for the APU as we are on the emergency exit lights. We get the chimes on, fasten seatbelt signs which will be checked. Bat and ground power is over on the DCs. As we ride, we get our panel lights all lit, we get the IRSs lit, 1 and 2. Flap test is checked. Test the flight recorder, which is already set for us. Window heats, all 4 can go on. We've got the air circs, which are auto. We've got the packs, which can go to auto. Isolation valves open. APU bleed can go on, which is set and checked. We've got the anti-collision light in, and we'll fire up the APU now, ready to go. There's the flick back, which is set. All of our lights and panels are all in, so I'm going to go over to the FMC and get the aircraft fully established. So I'm going to go from Malawi. That's going to all align itself anyway. Punch that in as we ride through. We're going to be going to Graz, Lima, Oscar, Whiskey, Golf. On departure, we're leaving out for runway 08, and we're going to be leaving out on the Rattenberg 2 Quebec. Fire route in, we've got direct to Abidi. From Abidi, we then got Iberi. And Iberi is going to take us in for the arrival. So we're taking the Iberi 1 Mike coming through. Going to be taking the RNAV onto 16 centre. And when we fly in on the arrival, our transition, once we come through onto the runway, is the Whiskey Golf 821. As we're going to be coming from this direction anyway, as on the arrival, we're going to transition off right here at IXEG. We'll make a right hand turn to then connect on, and then we'll be all set and ready to come in for runway 16 centre. We're going to be using the RNAV approach, so we've got all of our waypoints which will be listed. We'll set the RMP to 0.3, coming down the 3.5 degree glide path. So once we hit Renault, we're going to then start that descent down, and once we get right the way near to the runway 4.7, we'll put a ring in. 1.5, we'll put a ring in as well. It should be at 2,900 feet at 4.7 from the threshold of runway 16 centre, and 1.5 should be at 1740. Minimums is going to be 1426 coming down in LNAV and VNAV, which gives us a 309 decision. Coming over, we'll set the altitude, which is going to be 110 for 1120, which is checked. 290, which go over on the flight altitude. Okay, which is checked. Switch over the APU, we'll get that all set in. So there's the APU all in. Request our perf, as we've got our cost index as we roll through on that lovely departure today. Really nice as we ride out. So we'll get the loading screen up in just a second. Okay, we'll load that in, activate it. 270 it wants, so we'll leave 27 as that is probably max in for the routing. Don't want to mess up the VNAV and be too high so that it can't plan the descent down. It's got all of our cost index there. Our cost index is going to be 23, we've got 35, so we can leave that as well. We'll get there a little bit quicker. And 249 at 27. And 35 on the minus. Okay. Altitude was set for 11,000. N1 limit, takeoff for takeoff 1, and a climb 1. Centre of gravity and everything, flaps 5. Centre of gravity will come through. Get the METARs as well for the runway, which is going to be 120 at 15. checked. Reduction, we're going to put in 800 feet. Then we'll climb all the way through to 3000. Got 122, a 127 and a 132. Leading out. Going to be leaving out on the 077. Which is checked. And we'll get up 290 on the MCP altitude, climb the flight directors on the auto throttle, and the aircraft is pretty much all set and ready to come out. So flight directors, auto throttles are armed, auto brakes RTO. Come overhead now, get the fuel pumps on, your dampers can come on, electric hydraulics, everything else is all over and set, APU gen switched over, and we are now ready to leave pretty much. So the QNH coming out is 1011, okay, which is in and checked. TCAS can go to TA. We check the departure, we'll get the Rattenberg VOR as well. Make sure we've got the brake on too. Rattenberg 40, 303, 40 NDB. Okay, which is checked. Switch that in. Get the ADF on as well. That should come up with Rattenberg once we get near. And that is us pretty much then all the way out. Max 180, which we can confirm on the FMC. 180 for the Whiskey 1520. Whiskey India 521, which is checked for 180. And then once we get up to Rattenberg, we can then proceed to start flying. 11.6, 14.2. Over on the left and right hand sides. So we are all ready and set to go. As we leave out onto the 075, by the looks of it, we've got the 077 in. So that's us now ready to go. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to tell all the ground to disconnect. Stairs can be released. And we can release the forward loader and carts and the after loader and carts. Pushback, we'll call it pushback tug. We are going to use a TPX 200, which is there. We're going to tell it to do an L, 90 degrees. We'll just tell it to do it 150, which might do it, not sure. And we're going to be turning it to the right as well. So when everybody has cleared off, which is just getting ready to do, there goes the loaders and the carts. Once this guy leaves, we can then call the tug and get ready to go. So packs can now be turned off, which are checked. Time to start the tug.
Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start. They want the tail to our left.
Okay, there goes the loaders. Aircon's leaving.
Ready to push, tail to the left. Park brakes off.
Okay, we'll just wait for this guy to leave. And then we're already in set to push. So it's coming out basically takeoff 1 and 800 feet. The reduction will come in. That should slow us down on the rate of descent. Once we wait for these guys to clear off and disconnect, we can then move forward. Okay, so there he goes. We're just waiting for the baggage part to disconnect. Then we're going to push out into an L. Where we're going to face back down for runway 08, head back down, circle around, just like what this guy's doing, circle around for runway 08, and then away we go. So the loader should clear off now. Any moment. We will look back in just a minute, make sure everything's all done. Okay, off he leaves. Okay, and we can release the brakes. Okay, brakes are released.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
We've been cleared for pushback and start. They want the tail to our left.
Roger that. Ready to push. Tail to the left. Parking brakes off.
Parking brakes are off.
Brakes released.
Okay, brakes are released. Go ahead and start engine number 2.
Brakes released. Here we go.
So start valves open. N2 is increasing. All pressure and temps will slowly come to life. 25% will inject fuel. We'll see EGT start to increase. There's engine number 2 now coming to life. 20%, 2, 3, 4, and 5. See EGT now start to increase as fuel cup switch is set upon, and engine number 2 now will start to fire. So what we're going to do is, as we're coming out, I'm going to get him to stop. I'm going to remove the tug. Otherwise we'll end up going over onto the green, which we don't want. 56% start to cut out for engine number 2 is back. Go for engine number 1 as EGT now climbs up. Start valves open. N2 is increasing. Oil pressure and temps will come to life. 25% will inject fuel. We'll see EGT start to increase. Okay, so LNAV pre-armed, head and select, which is coming through at 23, 24, 25%. N2 is now increasing. EGT will start to increase as well. And engine number 1 now is coming to life. So the tug and everyone has gone. We're going to put the parking brake back on, which will be checked. As we wait for the engines now to roll through. We've got 6.24 on the trim. Which is checked. Engine number 1, EGT is now stabilising, so we can switch over the gens, go over to Gen 1, which is checked. Let's get the Pro Peats on. Isolation valves can go to auto along with the packs. Bleeds can now go on along with the APU, which can go off. APU is off, engine start switches are continuous. Ding the cabin, let them know that we are ready and set to leave. Now I'm going to put the wing light on just in case I do a wing view departure. Nice morning textures, so you guys can actually see out on the wing front as well of the aircraft. So we're going to take a right hand turn. We're going to drop into a flaps 5, which is set 122, 127 and a 132. 132 plus 20 for V2 is going to be a 152. So V2 plus 20 is 152, which will be in the white little checkered dot next to the speed tape. And get the ADF in as well for Rattenberg, which is the 303. Flaps 5 green light is down. We can get our taxi lights on as we bring the control column over now. Release the brakes, and we can now steer to runway 08. Just to make sure we've got the flight recorder replay on. Then we can jet off to lovely Graz. Okay, so brakes are released. Okay, I'm powering up as we're going to go over to the right hand side. Now we'll take that right hand turn. I can see someone's having a good time over there. Temperature's 34 degrees. As we now leave lovely Innsbruck. So the NDB should come to life for Rattenberg once we get a little bit closer. This guy's having the time of his life. He's probably got sickness by now. Got Takeoff 1 coming out. You see lovely Lauda air today as we get ready to depart out of runway 08. Lovely fantastic views as we're going to just go up the slope. Okay, I'm going to get the runway turn-off lights on. Strobes can go on as well, as we're going to enter directly onto the runway. A little bit bumpy. Now cabin crew, take your seats for departure. I'm going to come down to the end, turn around. Now you've got the brakes on. Swing over to the left. So LNAV's on, 10 selects, engaged, 400 feet, LNAV will switch over, then we're going to switch back down onto the 077, which is right here. So, let's set the parking brake, get the landing lights which can go on, we're all ready to go, we should be all good without the bleeds, we don't have to do the bleeds takeoff. So, with that all said and done, we can start the clock, push forward on the column, 45%, stabilise, and toga. Airspeed live. Check, throttle hold, 100 neutral on the column.
V1. Rotate.
Rotate.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. Okay, which is checked. Let's move down onto the 075. There's climb 1 coming in. Follow down with the flight director, which is checked, out to 180, which is max, which is checked, and the flight director on, it's going to hold 180 anyway. Passing through 3,800 feet, auto brake can be turned off, gear is up and off, There's a slow just following through to Rattenberg now. We're going to move on to 180. There's 180 for flaps 1. Must be a bug with the trim. They're still flying the aircraft manually. As you can see, as we just blast out. Lovely scenic arrival. So once we hit flaps 1, we're going to hold a flaps 1 until we pass the Whiskey 521. Then once we hit the 522, we can start to speed up. There's a middle marker now. Though I didn't know that the flight director had changed, probably with the livery that's been placed there. So speed check, flaps 1, as we now lift up to Takeoff 180. Okay, 180, which is checked. Autopilot can now come on. And L-Nav V nav is engaged. We're going to hold at 180 flaps 1 until we pass through our next fixed point, and the aircraft will start to rise. So I don't know why the trim keeps going crazy like that. Maybe the new update that's coming, or has already come out by the time this video is released, has fixed that, as I know there was some talk about that changing. So 180 as we try now to the Whiskey India 521, which is checked. Then we go to 290 for the Whiskey India 522. Currently climbing at around 2,000 feet per minute. Holding the flaps 1, which is also checked. And some lovely views as we just come out from lovely Innsbruck. (9,005) just passing, so landing lights can all be turned off, engine and start switches can be turned off, cabin can be released. 180 now go to 290, the aircraft will automatically do that as we go up to our climb speed, which will be 29, flaps up, past that, and then it will go up to our climb speed, which is 290. Climb speed will go up to 290, normal cruise, we've got decimal 714. Okay. So there's the NDB, as we can see, which is going to take us straight back down to the 051 and then the 062 for Rattenberg. So standard QNH can be switched over after takeoff checklist. Flaps 1, which is engaged as we just passed the Whiskey India 521, auto brakes off, gears up and off, no lights. As we now move towards the 052, which is checked. Packs are on, bleeds are also on, engine start switches are off, landing lights are up, and cabin has been released. Passing through 12,007 now, as we just leave a lovely Innsbruck. There's our speed now for the VNAV, going up to 290 since we passed the Whiskey India 522. Speed check, flaps up. And there's Rattenberg there for the 062, which you can plug in, which is checked. And we're now going to speed up to 290, ready for that right hand turn. So, there we go. 160 knots, Whiskey Golf 817. We'll sort that all out once we come in, as we are going to basically step back for the Whiskey 185. So we get the aircraft fully configured. We'll sort that a little bit out in the FMC when we get nearer to the airport. The aircraft's doing a great job now as it climbs up through 13,000 feet. The aircraft's going to steeply climb now to catch up on for its speed. So there's the climb up. 290 on the speed's been reached, so now the aircraft will continue its climb to maintain 290 knots. As you can see, lovely views. Absolutely fantastic views coming out. Okay, which is checked. Brandenburg now is going to be heading down onto the 092. Okay, which is also checked. We'll take a look outside of that as well. Absolutely fantastic on the view front, as we can see down there. Got some lovely views as we go overhead of some of the little villages and some of the valleys that we can also see. So as we lead it now down onto the 092, passing through 18,000 for flight level 290. What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to leave you with the takeoff cinematics and some of the aerial shots of the departure. And once we get down onto our top of descent, it's basically going to follow, going the RMP RNAV approach. So what that's going to basically mean for us, the RNAV precision, we're going to roll in for the Whiskey Golf 821 at 7,500 from Ronot. So once we hit down, we make a right hand turn, we'll hit Ronot, which is going to be right here, and then we'll hit the 164, which will take us from 7,500 all the way down to 3,003. Once we hit the 3.5 degree glide path, we're going to put in a 4.7 ring for 2,900 and 1.5 nautical mile ring for 1,740. So these are altitude that we're expected to hit coming down on the glide path. We'll match them to reference. We would use this, but we don't have the indicator which comes up on PFD for the RNAV approach. So I don't know if that is meant to be there or not, but it is there on the Zebo mod in X-Plane 11. So we're going to put 4.7 ring and a 1.5. As long as our altitudes match up and we're on the right glide path, then everything will be all good. Coming in for the LNAV VNAV, we've got 1426 for a 309 decision height. I'm going to put 0.3 in on for the RMP for the required navigational performance, and we're coming in for probably roughly around 900 feet, probably around between 8 to 850. So between 8 and 900 feet we'll be looking to come in on the arrival for runway 16 centre. And one thing I noticed with the flight simulator is a few days ago the sim kept on crashing at certain airports when I'd load in, and I wasn't quite sure why, because it only did it with the Pmdg 737. Now it can actually confirm that if anyone's getting any sudden crash to desktop when loading the 737 Pmdg, it could be Windows 11 because I've switched over. It's to do with one of the world updates, out of one of the 8 that are on there that aren't added when you install, but that I've got the world updates which are sitting there. There's 8 or 9 of them, and that is what is currently causing the crash to desktop with the Pmdg. So the new update that comes out, hopefully that might rectify it, and then I'll slowly put them back in one by one. But that's if anybody's having them, of course. But with that all said and done, I'm going to leave with the takeoff cinematics. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you when we get back for our top of descent, ready to come in for the 16 centre approach for the RNAV onto lovely Graz. Just been 5 nautical miles before we start our top of descent, ready to come down for Iberi, on for the Iberi arrival. So 9,000 above, so we'll drop down to 8,000. The aircraft will hold just above that as we get ready to come in. We're just about to put our weather forecast in as well, so the aircraft can hit its descent. We'll see the vertical deviation point pop up as well. Don't know where the AMP and RMP has gone from here, as that's usually there as well, but we're going to set everything up as we go along. So go over to our top of descent, coming in from 290, so we'll put 20, 10, and we'll put 3. Okay, so from 200 we've got 245 at 12, 10249 at 11, and 110 at 7 for the runway winds, which is all set and checked. So the RMP is going to be 0.3, which will be mandatory. I was just going to get ready now, and we should have started our descent. Altitude hold came in, so 0.1. The aircraft's going to go into altitude hold. I don't know why VNAV came out, so VNAV can go in. VNAV speed, we have to come out in vertical speed now for the moment. Okay, 2,000 feet. Once we get back down within the vertical deviation range. So this is a prime example. Say for instance you missed your top of descent, you hit the VNAV and it goes into VNAV speed. That means it's not going to come down on the right descent path to target where your next waypoint is. So for 9,000 you can see 10 nautical miles. So 9,000 above needs to be for Iberi. If we watch the vertical deviation point, as you see that's slowly creeping away. We're still coming down. 279, so speed's going to be a little high. We can open up the speed brakes, which will then drop us down just a little bit more, so we can go down to 2005. Then once vertical deviation comes back, as you can see now, it's just slowly just creeping there with us, as we're going to leave the speed brakes open for now. So we'll leave the speed brakes open for now, that's fine, we'll leave them there. Currently tracking the 113. Okay, which is checked and in and set. Now for the fixes on the approach, because we don't get the identifier on the PFD, we're going to put in the fixes for the runway, so then we can know where we're meant to really be positioned with the altitude indicator. So we're going to be putting in the Lima Oscar Whiskey Golf. We're going to be putting in a destination pass unachievable, as we're obviously because we're descending, so we can leave that there for the time being once we get this done. So we want a 4.7 nautical mile ring, and we also want a 1.5 nautical ring where we should be then at 1740, which is checked. We can check that all to make sure it's there. See on the vertical deviation, it's just slowly starting to come back now. So we'll leave everything as it is, as we're going to come back, and then we want to be around near to Iberi, and then the Whiskey Golf 508, we want to be coming for 8,000 feet above. So I don't know why the top of descent point keeps starting it very late to where the aircraft is positioned. So if you really wanted to do it, you just take your altitude, times it by 3, add another 10 for wind component, and that'd be your miles. So if it was 30,000 feet, 30 times 3, which is 90, but 90,000, but just to put it as 90, plus 10, so 100 nautical miles you make your descent. We came from 2.9, so yeah, around 100 nautical miles now, as we are coming in pretty rapid, as you can see on the descent, 281, 2005. You can see the vertical deviation just moving as we are currently descending down. So descent pass unachievable because we're too high above the vertical deviation point, and the aircraft can't follow it in VNAV path to get us down on the right spot. So we're basically coming down in VNAV speed, well, vertical speed should I say. VNAV speed will turn on. If I click that, VNAV speed will come straight back on, which means we are not following the path. So we stay back down for 2005. We can drop it down for 3,000 if we really wanted to get a little bit naughty down on the flight controls. And you see the vertical deviation point now starting to slowly rise. So I'm going to drop us down to 3,000 feet. Once we do that, just keep an eye on our vertical deviation. We'll get back down ready to intervene for the VNAV path. For the approach, engine start switch can be continuous. Cabin can be advised now as we are starting the approach. 0 degrees, 10 will knock off the anti-ice as we get ready for the left-hand turn, which will take us onto the 345. Okay, 045, which is also checked. Speed brakes are out, as you can see now, with the vertical deviation. It's slowly coming back for IXEG, which will be for 7,500 above. Then we're going to make that left-hand turn onto the 345. Once we get a little bit higher on vertical deviation point, we'll then take the speed brakes in, and we'll then let VNAV path come back down for us. So what I'm going to do is 279 as it obviously wants. There's a 345 which will come in now. Okay, 345 which is in. Also 15,004. And you can see the speed brake's been open the whole time, so you can see the vertical deviation now coming up. And now at this point, what we can do is we can activate VNAV. VNAV speed will come back in as just rolling through, and then VNAV path will activate itself once we come. So watch the vertical deviation point. As it gets near to the middle, the VNAV will switch over to VNAV path, and then it's back on profile following its descent path. So there's a VNAV path which is currently set. Aircraft will start to pitch up as we now descend through 13,005, ready for 8,000, and then 7,500 above for run-up. So speed brakes can now go back in, can arm them as well. So we're now coming to the Whiskey Golf 821, which is going to be the start of the approach pretty much for the RMP. Auto brake was set for number 2. Coming in down on the 164. So that's how you get yourself back into VNAV path. If you accidentally just go a little bit over your top of descent point. That was the aircraft, was miscalculated. There's 164. Got 0.3 which is set down for the RMP. Don't know why it's not there on the navigational display. Going and set the fuel 46 to 4A. Switch over the anti-ice, which is checked. 0.2 which will give us 55.5. That'll give us 130, and then we've got 9, so we'll call that 5. So VREF 30 plus 5, which will be a 135. That'll carry us down for around just over 800 feet per minute. This approach point is runway 16 centre. We go in on the FMC for the legs page, where we can check for the glide path and the nautical miles. So it's 5.8 nautical miles from the start of the descent to the threshold, which 5.8, and we can see 5.8 nautical miles on the glide path. 3.4, which is going to be on the descent glide path for the flight path angle, and that's it, 3.5, which is set. So 10,000 feet. Going to open up the speed brakes one last time now. Switch QNHs over to 1013 as the aircraft's now going to descend down and slow to 200. That'll give us enough time then to get down on the approach ready. Okay, which is checked. And we can also have a look outside at the lovely views that greet us down into Graz. Spectacular views. There's a decel which is going to hold in 200 as we then make that right hand turn for run up onto the 075. Now we've got all of the waypoints that are going to list us down, which we'll quickly just run through to make sure that they all run in sync with what we've got. So 7,500 above for run up, which we've got 7,500, so we'll put 7500, which will be checked. That'll keep us nice. 5,500 for the Whiskey Golf 814, 47, 33 for the 817, which is checked, and then we start the descent at 5.8 Dimi, which is just at the 817, and then we fly that down to runway 16, which we just established for the approach. Now the aircraft's going to start to slowly slow down. You can see on the speed tape the speed's starting to decrease. Auto brake set for number 2. We've got VREV 30 plus 5, which is a 135 coming in on the approach. As the aircraft's going to slow down to 200 degrees, 200 knots, which is then going to be us ready to come down. We've got the rings 4.7 and 1.5, which is going to be the altitude markers that we're going to check to make sure the aircraft's coming down on the right descent profile. There's the 075 coming in now. Which is checked. Lovely views as we spin inbounds. Then we can see 200 on our speed. Going to get us down onto about flaps 10 when we start the descent down. As we want to get our speed nice. That 160 is now turned to 135, which is our VREV 30 plus 5. So that won't say that the speed's unachievable now. As we need to decel now further, I'm going to drop into flaps 5. As you can say for flaps 1, it shouldn't be for 180. As we come down, yeah, flaps 5 would be best. On for that right hand turn now, which takes us on to the 164. Which is checked. 3000, which will be set in, and we can drop the minimums down. Which is going to be our minimums today. We'll just quickly get that in. Minimums down on the approach. It's going to be 1426. Okay, so 1426, there's flaps 5. So we're going to carry on the descent. 1466 we'll put in. Okay, which is checked. As we're now descending down, going to flaps 10, just give us that extra little bit more drag. And the aircraft's going to level off at 3,300 feet. Right then, before it starts the glide path, and we've got our rings in as well, which are set for the altitude markers. We'll go past the first one, which is at 4.7, we should be at 2,900 feet. There's flaps 10, which is in. The aircraft's descending now around 1,000 feet per minute. As we pass the 814, we should be at 5,005. By the time we get to the 817, that's where we're going to start our queue for the descent. Will be fully established and ready unlocked, 5 nautical miles out. As soon as we brush through the clouds, we should have the runway in sight. So we get the landing lights, which can all go on, which are checked. Runway turn off, taxi lights. Engine start switch is continuous. Cabin crew take your seats for arrival. Packs are on. Bleeds are also on as well. Auto brake number 2. As we come through 16, 17, and then just before we hit for number 18. So there's 5,005. Whiskey Golf 15. We need to be at 4,700 feet. I just want to see if it puts in the markers for when we come through. Okay. That's past 5,002. So we haven't come onto the glide path yet. So 4,007. This will be for our next waypoint fix. There's the runway in sight. 4,007, which is checked, which is just about correct. The aircraft's going to hold up as it meets its next restriction, and down for 3003. There we can see 4000 above. Then the 17 is for 3,300 feet, where we then get ready for the approach. So flaps 15, gear down. You see lovely views. As we fly into Graz, looks absolutely fantastic. Lovely views coming in. Make do for an excellent landing and cinematics. So we're just slowing down to flaps 15 and our flaps 15 speed. So bring the control columns over as we're just going to get ready now to go through our landing checklist. Here's the 317, then we're going to drop the 318, which is already checked for us to go 3,800 feet. So we drop down into flaps 30, which is going to give us 135. Okay, flaps 30 green light. So 4.7 dimming, we need to be at 2,900 feet. So landing checklist, landing lights are all on, packs are auto, bleeds are fully on, engine start switches are continuous, got the auto brake set for number 2, we've got gear down, green light, we've got flaps setting of 30, which is green light as well. We are visual on the runway, and we are established now coming down on the VNAV path. 2,900 feet, we're going to hit 4.7, so 4.7 right there on the marker where the needle touches, we should then be coming in. We've got 0.3 down for the RMP, which is the required navigational performance, and at 4.7 2,900 and 2,900 feet, bang on, which is fine. So we switch that off. We've got minimums of 1466, it's just over 346 on the decision height. Fully established, ready to come in for the arrival now. Speed brakes are armed, and we are now ready to come in. Get down for 1.3. Its minimums are at 1466. One more last view outside before we blast in. Okay. As we go into the white line, we're going to switch over and put the missed approach altitude in. 300 feet just before. Okay, which is in. Which is checked. 1,000 checked. Okay. I have control of the aircraft, and the aircraft is now mine. Okay, we've got a little bit of wind over to the left. You see it just pulling us down a little. 500 checked. Getting a little bit left rudder.
Approaching minimums.
2 red 2-1.
Minimums.
Continue.
$100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
Okay, a little bit of correction with the rudder. Speed brakes up, and reversers are active. Full pressure on the column. And welcome to Graz, everybody. 80 knots, reversers can be stowed. Manual braking, which will come on under 60. Manual braking now in. as we now get ready to taxi on back down towards the airport, as the airport is back down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this part of the taxiway to backtrack up the runway, as that's the turn off point for different parts. We're going to turn in and do a right hand turn, which is going to be right here for us. So we'll get the speed brake back in, that's going to be fully retracted, as we now just set our brakes in and make that right hand turn. So, welcome to Graz. Hope everybody enjoyed the flight. Auto brakes can be turned off. 1.5 minutes after arrival, we'll get the APU started up. As our taxiways are both back here, so we have to back taxi down the runway in order to get to the apron. As we have a look on the charts right here. So the apron here is going to be for Bravo, which I can just see now coming up in the distance. So we can get the APU started up. Okay, which is checked and back. You can feel the wind just slightly pulling you over just a little bit. Knock the throttles back now. Runway turn off lights can be turned off, and get all the landing lights which can be switched off as well. Engine start switches can be locked off. Fasten seatbelt signs can be all ready as we now come off Bravo and then head straight in onto the apron. So that was a lovely arrival with lovely views as well, so I will definitely try and get a wing view of this approach for you guys in 4K. Absolutely amazing arrival tonight, and thank you for all being a part of it as well. So we're going to come off now. As we pass over the hold short, we'll get the strobes back down to steady. Taxi lights are already on, waiting for us. As we now get ready to come into stand, so strobes can now be turned off. Engine start switches are off as well. And welcome to Graz. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to leave you with the landing cinematics. Thanks so much for being a part of the flight today, and I'll see you on the next available flight on the channel. So do stay safe. Thanks for being a part of the channel, and I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye bye.